Tonight on Newswatch, the Pentagon releases the identities of the 3 U.S. service members killed overseas.
Plus, on Capitol Hill, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth lobbies for more funding for the war in Iran.
And rising tension in the Middle East leads to high gas prices nationwide. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Natalie LaFleur.
And I'm Jenna Bolton. Welcome to Newswatch.
Here in Southeast Ohio, we currently are under a severe thunderstorm and flash flood watch.
Here to tell us more is forecaster Calvin Stebbins.
Yeah, guys, so here's just some footage of a thunderstorm that pushed through the southern part of Athens County. This prompted a severe thunderstorm warning, which was set to expire around 2 hours ago. But we saw heavy rainfall, winds up to 60 miles per hour, and even quarter-sized hail. Now, we have since seen this storm continue to push off to the east over the past few hours, and it's still under a severe thunderstorm warning as it is now in West Virginia. We are still seeing a few flash flood warnings just south of I-70 as they have seen accumulations of rainfall up to 2 to 3 inches, and it doesn't look like they're done yet as another little storm has just formed just south of I-70, continuing to travel off to the east. Now for the rest of southeastern Ohio, we're going to see a little bit more of a quieter stretch of weather. Heading in through tonight, we'll see a lot more clear conditions. We'll be sitting in the upper 60s, and then heading in through the rest of the week, we're going to continue to see a lot more clear conditions, and I'll break that down a little bit in my full weather, but for now I'm going to send it back to Natalie and Jenna at the desk.
Thanks, Calvin. The Pentagon has identified the 3 U.S. service members killed overseas this past weekend. 25-year-old First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan and 19-year-old Private Isabella Gonzalez were killed in an Iranian strike on a U.S. military base in Jordan. The Pentagon says it's continuing to investigate the strike, which marked the first American deaths from Iranian attacks since March. Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton died on Sunday during a controlled detonation of a drone system in northern Iraq. The White House says President Trump will attend the dignified transfer of the service members.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is appearing before a key Senate panel today to seek additional money to fund the ongoing war with Iran.
This hearing comes as the Pentagon's top spokesperson revealed nearly 100 service members have been hurt since July 7th. Lee Waldman has the latest.
Every night we're degrading them further and further, and the president has all the options necessary. If they want to talk, they can talk. Otherwise, they can deal with the War Department.
A stern warning from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ahead of his testimony before lawmakers in Congress. The Trump administration is lobbying members of Congress for tens of billions of dollars to fund the ongoing war, which has stretched on for nearly 5 months. Today, President Donald Trump vowed the fighting would continue.
They want to desperately meet, and until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest. Honestly, they haven't seen anything yet. We've been nice.
Secretary Hegseth's hearing appearance comes amid reporting that the Pentagon has been slow to discuss injuries to troops. In a post on X, the Pentagon's top spokesperson, Sean Parnell, said while nearly 100 service members have been injured since July 7th, 96% have returned duty. The Defense Casualty Analysis System has become the primary official source for the number of U.S. casualties in the conflict. A CNN review appears to show significant delays in updates. Officials have said the delay is intended to protect service members.
This is a frightening situation, and yeah, they have not been telling us what's been happening in terms of lost equipment, in terms of the cost of the war, and certainly in terms of the service members who have been wounded.
I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Lebanese President Joseph Aoun is in Washington for a meeting with President Trump. The bilateral comes amid new efforts to end fighting in his country's southern region, as the Israeli military says it's starting a pilot program there and is transferring control of 3 villages to the Lebanese military. That action is to allegedly test whether the country can maintain sovereignty despite the Iran-backed Hezbollah fighters in the region.
Yesterday, President Trump spoke with Britain's new Prime Minister, Andy Burnham. The two men talked about trade, the current situation in the Middle East, and the military alliance between the United States and the United Kingdom. The president posted on social media that he plans to meet in person with Burnham in the not-too-distant future. Trump also said he is confident in Burnham's leadership. In his first speech to the British people, Burnham promised to make politics work better. He is the country's 7th prime minister in the past decade.
More news from Capitol Hill as President Trump is denying nearly 6,000 clemency applications. According to the New York Times, the president refused more than 300 pardon applications and more than 5,600 requests for commutations. A commutation can get someone out of prison, while a full pardon completely erases a conviction. The White House signaled Trump might issue 250 pardons to celebrate the country's 250th birthday. However, an official clarified that was only an idea and never a concrete plan.
The Trump administration is trying to change a decades-old rule about historic preservation of landmarks. The 1966 National Historic Preservation Act is a federal law that protects historical and archaeological sites. One part of it, Section 106, mandates that federal agencies evaluate the impact of projects on these sites. That rule section has been the focus of legal challenges to many of President Donald Trump's pet projects. Those include his proposed Triumphal Arch, the Kennedy Center renaming, and renovations to the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool.
It's going to cost more to fill up your tank. That's because escalating violence between the U.S. and Iran is driving up oil and gas prices once again.
Jen Sullivan explains why prices are going up and how long drivers could be feeling the pinch at the pump.
Drivers are paying more for gas once again. Monday, the national average for regular gas was $4 a gallon. That's up 13 cents in a week, according to AAA. It's because the escalating violence between the U.S. and Iran is driving up energy prices.
And the impact on oil prices will be dramatic.
Monday, global oil prices rose above $90 a barrel for the first time in more than a month. There's concerns the ongoing violence in the Middle East will deter oil producers from traveling through the Strait of Hormuz. One vessel traveling through the strait went up in flames when it was struck by what was described as an unknown projectile, the UK Maritime Authority said Monday.
There's no way out of the current impasse because the Iranians are insisting they will control the straits, and we're saying they will not.
Another issue is Iran repeatedly striking energy facilities in the Gulf.
It's about repairing the facilities that were damaged during the war. And the longer we wait, the longer we are going to have an obstruction in supplies.
Experts say the longer this war goes on, the longer oil and gas prices will remain high.
The biggest fear really is not knowing how this conflict will end.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Here in the Buckeye State, we are also seeing those inflated gas prices. As of today, the statewide price per gallon is sitting at $3.84. That's a full 17 cents lower than the national average of $4.01. For Athens drivers, however, the good news stops there, as the cost for a gallon of gas in Athens County is hovering at $3.93, just 7 cents under the $4 mark.
Coming up, the end of the World Cup means an influx of travelers at U.S. airports. What TSA is doing to keep up.
And President Trump imposes a 50% tariff on Canada, possibly igniting a new trade war.
Severe threat is clearing out. Drier conditions up next. Stay tuned to see the full breakdown.
Russians were really good at putting people into space. Now NASA astronauts and Russian cosmonauts would have to start working together.
I was brought up on these are the guys we're in competition with. These are the enemy. You're going to have to make that space station work for you.
I hear the alarm go, bah, 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 bah. I believe that we, as a crew, saved the space station near.
Tonight at 9 on WOUB.
In 1915, in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, we did not create Rocky Mountain National Park. We gave it a name. From Nick Molay Productions, The Living Dream, 100 Years of Rocky Mountain National Park.
Thursday at 9 on WOUB.
Now streaming on the PBS app, the definitive collection from Emmy-winning scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr. From full seasons of Finding Your Roots.
These are your immigrant ancestors.
Oh my goodness.
To acclaimed documentaries.
Black Americans created a world behind the veil.
Discover the incredible history that connects us all. Stream the Henry Louis Gates Jr. collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
Sometimes you just want to celebrate
America's new birth of freedom.
It's a dream that I thought would never happen.
Let's do it!
it means that anything is possible. That is a perfect recipe for anything.
That's only part of the story.
Everything looks absolutely stunning.
Now that the World Cup is over, an influx of tourists headed out of New Jersey airports.
Additional TSA agents were in full force at Newark Liberty International Airport as travelers boarded international flights.
Some fans were returning to Spain to celebrate a championship, while Argentina supporters were headed home disappointed. The TSA's federal security director said plans for how to deal with the increase in travelers had been in the making for 2 years.
Very strong array of security with additional officers from other airports helping us out, canine handlers as well. And because of that, we were able to efficiently process the rush this morning.
I came from Los Angeles, and of course I had a choice to go to Kennedy, but I like this a lot. It's just much easier to get in and out.
Was it just the one trip for the final here?
Yeah, I came in Friday and leaving today. It's Monday. Yeah.
And no issues?
No.
About 78,000 passengers were expected to pass through security checkpoints at the Newark airport. President Trump is imposing a new 50% tariff on Canada, threatening a trade war with the United States' second top trading partner. Trump is invoking a 1930 trade law to impose the tariff. The law allows a president to tariff goods up to 50% without congressional approval when a country is believed to be discriminating against American goods. However, the law has never been applied this way. It would apply to certain Canadian goods like electric equipment and machinery. The tariffs won't take effect for 30 days. Ontario's premier has encouraged Canada to retaliate with its own tariffs. The Department of Justice is investigating Harvard University's funding ties to China. The DOJ Civil Rights Division announced a compliance review after an audit of Harvard's foreign funding disclosures, revealing China as the top source in donations, totaling more than $630 million. The DOJ claims evidence shows some of the gifts call for Harvard to give preference in financial aid to students from particular countries, presumably Chinese. That could be a violation of Title VI by discriminating against American students. Harvard must now give the government records related to the funds, as well as information about the financial aid recipients.
Big news for gamers everywhere. Roblox will soon let users create their own games from a phone using simple text prompts. Its new AI-powered tool called Build can generate gameplay, environments, characters, visuals, and sound. Users can then customize, test, and share their creations. Testing begins in New Zealand next week, with a broader rollout planned in the coming months. Nintendo says customers will not be getting a tariff refund from the company. That's in its response to a class action lawsuit filed by consumers that says if the federal government refunds the tariffs Nintendo paid, the company should refund the buyers it passed those costs on to. Not doing so, they say, allows Nintendo to collect costs twice. Nintendo, however, says buyers received exactly what they bargained and paid for. According to Nintendo, tariffs were only one reason the company raised prices, and consumers paid them willingly.
Well, some big storms definitely rolled through Athens today.
Yes, it was gray and dark outside at noon today. That's definitely unusual. Yes. Calvin, can you tell us what it's going to look like heading into tonight?
Yeah, so luckily that system has finally exited off into the Ohio Valley and stretching into West Virginia now. So at least for tonight, we're going to be a little bit more on the clearer side of things. We're still going to see some pop-up showers and thunderstorms starting to develop, but we're definitely not going to see as severe as we did throughout our afternoon hours. So we're continuing to see a lot of those showers moving out. Now, there's a lot to unpack on our watches, warnings, and advisories map. First being the severe thunderstorm watch, which got issued at 1 p.m. this afternoon. This is going to be set to expire, but we saw a lot of severe thunderstorms roll across the southern side of the state, and this was even stretching all the way off to the western side of the state. Now, the next thing to unpack is this flood watch. This is going to be in effect until 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, so we're continuing to see some of those pop-up showers and thunderstorms continuing to hit the same areas that saw a lot of rainfall throughout the past few hours. So we've seen accumulations up to 2 to 3 inches, and even for a majority of our afternoon, we saw a lot more severe thunderstorms and showers across the southern side of the state, which even prompted a few severe thunderstorm warnings, and even in the most extreme cases, even just south of I-70, where we saw a few tornado warnings. Now, just taking a look of what's to be expected throughout tonight, we're going to continue to see a lot of these showers and thunderstorms continuing to get pushed off to the southeast. And again, we're still seeing a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms starting to form across just south of I-70. Now, there are a few flash flood warnings which are still in effect for the next hour and a half. So a lot of these areas have gotten repeated rainfall over the past few hours, accumulating anywhere from 2 to 3 inches. And they're expecting quite a little bit more as some of these showers and thunderstorms are continuing to travel off to the east. Now, you might be asking yourself, why is this all happening? Well, we had a warm front that pushed up to the north over the past few hours, which allowed for our environment to get really warm. And then now we're starting to see this cold front starting to push through, and we're starting to see a lot of pop-up showers and thunderstorms starting to develop along that cold front. Now, in the next few hours, we're going to see this cold front push across the Ohio Valley. So we're going to start to feel more like fall-like temperatures out there, where we're going to see our highs in the upper 70s and then our overnight lows around the mid-50s. And we're also going to see a strong region of high pressure starting to form along the Midwest, which is going to bring a lot of sunny skies. We are continuing to see those storms clearing out by 8 p.m. tonight, and we're going to notice a nice cool down throughout the rest of the week. And then for the rest of the week, we're going to see a lot of sunny skies. Currently in Athens, though, we're sitting at around 78 degrees with clear skies jumping in through tonight. We'll see that overnight low sitting at around 64 with a chance of 60% chance of showers, and that will be lasting up until 8 p.m. when we'll start to see that system clearing out. Heading in through tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies with a high of 77 and an overnight low of 55. Now, for the next 12 to 24 hours, we're continuing to see that cold front pushing through the southern side of the state. But then by Thursday, we're going to be on the back side of it, and then we're seeing that high pressure forming within the Midwest. So we're going to see some nice cooler temperatures, especially compared to the past few weeks. And then we're going to see a lot of sunny skies associated with that high pressure. Now, just taking a look at our 7-day outlook, Wednesday and Thursday we'll be sitting in the upper 70s with a lot of sunshine. Then we're going to start to see another system starting to roll through as we head in through the weekend, where we'll be sitting in the lower 80s. And then that next chance of some showers and thunderstorms returns by Saturday.
Next, the Cyclospora outbreak is increasing demand for some local farmers.
To stay up to date on all the latest news from around Southeast Ohio, be sure to follow WOUB News on all social media platforms.
I think about, what if I took a right turn instead of a left turn? I think I would have missed a lot.
You're getting into heavy stuff now, so be careful.
Wow, I have goosebumps. I can start crying.
CasualWorks was not designed, created, or maintained by people who studied disability. They're people who studied opportunity. If a person has very limited movement and can make little teeny circles, there's a place for you. The idea of workers contorting themselves to a job is one business model. Our business model is that the job responds to the worker.
WOUB is recognizing members of our Cornerstone Society. The Cornerstone Society is a group that wants to ensure the future of public media in our region. It includes people across our area who value news, entertainment, and cultural programming, as well as the educational services WOUB provides. Also included are graduates of Ohio University who took part in the WOUB Student Professional Development Program. Thanks to the Cornerstone Society for their generous support. To learn how you can be involved, email woub@woub.org.
The Cyclospora outbreak has a lot of people avoiding shredded iceberg lettuce.
Now, some Midwest farms are seeing more business from people who are buying local because of these concerns.
Although health experts say it's not a complete guarantee, locally grown produce potentially could be safer than pre-packaged produce. That's if, for instance, an outbreak were tied to a water source in another country. That said, it's still unclear why U.S. cyclosporiasis cases are higher than usual currently.
We've definitely seen an uptick in buying local. This last week, Sunday, yesterday, at the farmers market at Exarban, it was our best week of the year. Buy local, and vast majority, if not pretty much all the time, it's going to be safe.
Taylor Farms issued a voluntary recall of its iceberg lettuce, which is the believed source of the outbreak. However, FDA says people still should thoroughly wash produce and their hands to reduce the risk of contamination.
It's a legal battle between weight loss drug companies. The maker of Wegovy is suing Zepbound manufacturer Eli Lilly. The lawsuit filed by Novo Nordisk says Eli Lilly's advertising claims are deceptive. At issue are ads that say patients on Zepbound lost more weight than those taking Wegovy. Novo Nordisk is arguing those claims are based on comparing the highest doses of Zepbound to the lowest doses of its Wegovy. The company wants Eli Lilly to pull the ads and issue new ones with correct information.
Divorce rates have been steadily declining over the past 4 decades in the U.S., but still in 2023, about 1/3 of Americans who have ever been married had experienced a divorce, according to research.
Experts say the emotional and mental toll it can take can be similar to mourning a death. Mandy Gaither talks to a psychologist about how to get through the grief of divorce.
You thought it was forever, but sometimes life leads you down a different path, and suddenly the future you pictured gets fuzzy.
Whether someone wants a divorce or not, there's a heavy toll because you spent X amount of years with this person.
Psychologist Chavana Childs with Cleveland Clinic says any routine is hard to break, and that includes marriage. Experts say divorce can lead to depression, loneliness, isolation, self-esteem issues, and other psychological distress.
This is a relationship we're choosing to let go. And depending on the era that we grew up, if we're told that we stay married for life, we could also be dealing with some stigma, and that can take a mental toll on us as well.
Child says it's okay to grieve the loss of a marriage, even when you know it's the best thing for you. She says a therapist can help and recommends getting an individual one, separate from any marriage counseling you may have tried, and have a good support system, whether that's a religious leader, positive family member, or friends. She says it's also important to be present in the moment. Journaling, grounding yourself, and being in nature can allow for that. Child says it's also the time to figure out who you are again, but take it one day at a time and do the things that feel most genuine to you.
You have to be the most important person in your life, so you have to take care of that person first.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Your pet's prescription can now be filled at CVS. The pharmacy chain says common medications for dogs and cats are now available at about 9,000 locations nationwide. That includes drugs like antibiotics, allergy medications, flea and tick treatments, insulin, and pain relievers. Pet prescriptions will also be eligible for services like automatic refills, and home delivery may be available for some meds. CVS says you can also manage your pet's prescription through its health app. Americans are socializing less than they used to, and it's not just teenagers. New numbers show the drop-off is happening across every age group.
Ivan Rodriguez has been digging into the data and talked to a psychologist who says, while we are lonely, we may not be lonely enough to want to make a change.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks how we spend our days, and its newest time use survey found Americans are now down to just 35 minutes a day socializing in 2025, compared to 41 minutes a decade ago.
15 years ago, the younger people, 15 to 24, they had some of the best mental health, and now they have some of the worst.
Meanwhile, Gallup finds teens are spending an average of nearly 5 hours a day on social media apps like TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat, time that used to go to people now going to screens. Marissa Franco says it's almost like we're getting fed snacks of connection instead of getting fed an entire meal.
We're finding ourselves, especially these younger generations, are finding themselves looking to fulfill that need for connection and turning towards social media, which is giving them enough of a felt sense of a connection or even distraction from the underlying feelings of loneliness that they don't ultimately hit rock bottom enough to reach out and find connection.
Franco says the ultimate cost isn't only measured in minutes, it shows up in the body.
The most commonly cited statistic, chronic loneliness is as toxic as smoking 15 cigarettes a day, which is wild because who's smoking 15 cigarettes a day? But people are spending weeks on end feeling so lonely.
If there's one thing we can do for our mental and physical health, it's finding social connection, Franco says.
It is critical. It is the oxygen that we need.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Still ahead, an Australian mother gives birth to 4 history-making babies.
I'm caught up in time as it stands still, Accused of stealing a backpack at 16, Khalif Browder spent 3 years at Rikers Island awaiting trial. His mother's poetry reflects on the tragedy and transformation that followed.
My poems are an extension of me.
For Vanita, for Khalif, on POV.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
Every person is a little novel in front of you. You just have to understand how it unfolds.
We stand in this place today a complete people.
The most important thing is to protect what we have left.
We need to remember what unites us all.
This is who we are.
How could I do something this interesting and stop?
I cannot imagine myself being somebody else.
We keep that rich culture going.
I want his life to inspire somebody.
Even if we've never met, we are connected through story.
The global order as we know it is changing rapidly.
This is having a big impact on the entire region, and Iran intends to share the pain with the neighbors.
Why do you think Putin's looking for a way out?
When you look at just the sheer numbers alone, between 1.2 and 1.4 million casualties, he's not winning.
Every week here on Compass Points, we'll provide you some direction to help us understand a critical issue and how it affects you at home.
A mom in Australia recently delivered very rare, naturally conceived identical quadruplets. Emily, Harriet, Alexa, and Catherine were born at a hospital in Brisbane on July 14th. The pregnancy was extremely high risk. A maternal fetal medicine specialist and obstetrician at the hospital says it may be the first pregnancy of its kind in the country. She said naturally conceived identical quadruplets is one of the rarest births in the world, with the odds of it happening in about 1 in 15 million pregnancies. Well, they better be stocked up on baby stuff because that is a lot of mouths to feed.
Oh yeah, and now having 8 kids, I think that's a lot to handle,
yes,
for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Calvin, we saw some storms roll through earlier. What can we expect moving in for the rest of the night?
Yeah, so for the rest of the night, we're continuing to see a lot of those showers and thunderstorms, which cause a lot of problems across the southern side of the state, continuing to travel across the Ohio Valley. We're going to continue to see a lot more of clear conditions as we head in through the overnight hours. There are still a few flash flood warnings just south of I-70 and surrounding the I-70, as there are still some showers and thunderstorms still marching their way across the southern side of the state. Now, for the rest of us here in southeastern Ohio and Athens, we're going to continue to see a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms still continuing to roll into our region, but none of that should be too severe, as that severe risk has really marched off to the east. Currently in Athens, we're sitting at around 78 degrees with clear skies. Jumping in through tonight, we'll see that overnight low of 64 with some scattered showers up until around 8 p.m. Then jumping in through tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies, high of 77 with that overnight low of 55. Then for the next few days, we're going to be sitting around the 80s with a lot of sunshine.
Well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching.
Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. Have a great night.